Well, congratulations are in order for Paul McCartney. His new album, The Boys of Dungeon Lane, has been another number one album on the official UK charts. So, very happy to hear that. And we'll talk about his US debut on the charts. But first, Paul McCartney was very excited about it. There was a little video snip of him addressing his audience, and he said, and I quote, he said, "Guess what?" He said, "Our album is number one. Can't get much higher, and we are well chuffed. My team and the whole gang of people who worked on this thing, they have done a fantastic job. So thank you to all of them, and thank you to all of you who bought it, and thank you to me," he said. And that's the quote from Paul. Now, it's fantastic that he's got a number one album. And unfortunately, in the United States, on the Billboard 200 chart, which is the official chart in the States, the album is set to debut at number 5 on the top 200, which again is pretty damn good considering this state of Paul's career, this age that he's at now. I think that's pretty impressive. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed. And the reason I'm disappointed is only because the album is so good. Everybody's saying The Boys of Dungeon Lane is one of the best things Paul McCartney has ever done at this point, and certainly within the last 20, 25 years, it's one of his very best. So it's just funny how the charts work, you know. Interestingly, although it's only number 5 on Billboard, the album is number 1 here in the States on Billboard in the top album sales. And these days you don't have to sell much to get there. I mean, Paul's only sold, I think the figure I have is 59,500, close to 60,000 copies. And yes, the article that I read said it was bolstered because of people buying so many variants. So, you know, the people who, who bought so many copies of Paul's new album physically helped it to get up to number 1. There's no escaping that on the sales physical chart. Okay, I want to say I think number 1 is some guy called Drake. We've talked about Drake in past videos, who's very successful in his time at this particular moment in musical history. And of course, that was very easy for the Beatles to do when they were younger, and very easy for Paul McCartney to have done when he was younger. Notice I'm saying younger. I'm not saying, I'll say younger, not so much young, because whether you're Drake or whether you're Taylor Swift or whoever these stars are today that do better than Paul on the charts, you have to put it into perspective, and you have to say, what's more impressive? Somebody that's younger than Paul, still in their heyday, more or less, doing very well on the charts, or somebody who's about to turn 84 years old, having a number 5 album along with the young competition. Let's find out. You think about it. Do you think Drake is going to be here, or Taylor Swift, about to reach the age of 84, having a number 5 album? Remains to be seen, but I would bet not. Okay, so yes, it's pretty impressive, especially for England. And I want to say it makes sense in a way, and it's very appropriate for this album, Boys of Dungeon Lane, to do number 1 business on the UK charts more than the US, because this album, Dungeon Lane, is very much a UK English flavored affair. So it really suits, UK more than even the US. So it's fitting that if it's only going to get to number 1 on one of the charts, it would be the UK charts. It's just interesting that I have some notes here that I took, that of the last albums that Paul has done in the US, released in the US, so many have gotten higher than 5. And before I do this, I want to make it clear. I'm not suggesting that an album's quality or greatness or legendary status in the future, somewhere decades down the line, has anything really to do solely with chart position. I mean, obviously, an album could be number 1 on the chart and not be as good as an album below it that only reached number 2 or 3. It's not about position, but for bragging rights and for historical positions and things like that, when you look at the books, it's nice to have number 1s. But I want to say, looking at some of the last albums that Paul did fairly recently in this century, McCartney 3 managed to get to number 2 in the US. Egypt Station managed to get to number 1. And I would suggest, well, it's just my opinion, so suggestion is a strong word. My opinion, I don't think Egypt Station nor McCartney 3 are as good as the new album, so there you go. The album called New in 2013 got up to number 3, and Memory Almost Full in 2007 got up to number 3. So we had 2 threes, a 1 and a 2 on albums that, your mileage will vary as to whether you think they're as good or less good than the Boys of Dungeon Lane. So congratulations again to Sir Paul. And this is a celebratory affair, and I'm very happy for him.